Welcome to the Paradise Paradox. My name's Aaron Battle. Today, you guys are in for a bit of a treat. I'm talking about an after lunch lie down. You're a kindergarten student, and me, your kindergarten teacher, is going to open up a session of story time. This is a little story that I experienced, a little event that I didn't choose exactly, but enjoyed all the same. My wife Joanna wanted to go on an adventure, and being a good husband and her day off, I decided just to go with the flow. So it was load the Vocho, the 81 model Volkswagen sedan, and we're going out to the country. Of course, essentials that I would pack were loaded: camping gear, maybe a machete, just to make sure that I'm prepared for when my car breaks down. It's essentially inevitable with my experience with my car. So, and off we went. So this is the story. I don't want to give too much of it away. Feel free to jump on Twitter and get in contact with me at BattleAZ. You can also jump on our page on Facebook and hold the like button, drop down to do notifications so you don't miss out any of these crazy adventures that make up the lives of the Paradise Paradox. You may also want to jump through our website, www.theparadiseparadox.com, where you can check out all our previous episodes and future episodes, a whole range of topics. Please feel free to jump on to search and check out whatever you like. There's a whole lot there. Also, make sure that you, if you're doing the podcast thing, then iTunes or Pocket Casts, also Podcast Addict. If you are listening through podcasts that way, give us a rating, add a review, let us know what you think, be involved somehow. Any way you like. You can also go through and donate. If you go to the website, there's a donate button up the top. We suggest $1 per show that you enjoy. Feel free to send $1 if you don't enjoy it, or $50 or a Bitcoin or Satoshi. We're pretty much happy to take whatever currency you're happy to send through. And it's just about showing support for a project that we enjoy doing. And if you enjoy it, it makes sense to support what you like. Amazon is one of our sponsors. We have a Amazon link at the top of our page. Please feel free to click on that. It sends you through to the Amazon site where you can go window shopping, check out everything you like, anything you like. They pretty much sell everything. But by doing so, when you do actually make a purchase, what actually happens is they send a very small commission, doesn't change the price of anything you buy, but a very small commission through to the Paradise Paradox. So that's a way that you guys can buy what you like, and we get supported in the whole process of that. So without holding up any longer, get comfortable and enjoy my story. So how am I going to start my story? It was a weekend.
Yeah.
And
good start.
It was the weekend. Joanna had a day off. I didn't have much to do. And the mission was, Joanna wanted to get to know go visit a little town called San Sebastian de Oeste. Apparently it's on the Mexican Magic Pueblo list. So it's one of those towns that are just trapped in time.
Okay. Yeah. Trapped in a list of tourist destinations.
For the rest of time. Because these towns are preserved. The government won't let you build anything in there. The towns are all, the streets are rock. Cars don't like driving. Everything's...
You're not allowed to build anything. That's why they stay the same.
Yeah, it's heritage.
Okay. All right.
But I guess if they wanted to build something, they could change the rules.
Sure. Sure.
So we're going to this town, and I'm like, okay, so what do you know about this town, and why are we going here? It's just, I just me antojo. I felt like it. I feel like going to visit this town. So off we go. First thing I do is jump on Google Maps. Where is this town? Like, Joanna tells me a couple hours away. It could be 5 hours away. I don't know.
All right. A couple of hours away. No te preocupes. Falta un poquito. Falta un poquito. That's what they say when it's actually half an hour, 5 hours away.
This is
just a little bit more.
It's
just a little bit.
Is it a chick thing?
No, I think it's more a Mexican thing.
It's a Mexican thing. Okay.
Bus drivers always tell me that.
Well, the map told me it was 3.5 hours.
Uh-huh.
And 3.5 hours road trip with the family, me, wife, and Vocho.
So Wally didn't come along.
No, I left Wally at home. But
you're disowned.
He's got his own room. You know my Vocho. Would you jump in that car for 3.5 hours?
No. Fuck no.
I'm a little uneasy about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know my car. It's running well at the moment. But I mean, that could change.
Minutes.
It's an 81 model Volkswagen sedan. Nothing special. No interior. No back seat. And the passenger front seats cable tied in. It wouldn't pass Rego in Australia.
You reckon?
Yeah, it wouldn't. There's no way. There's no way. So I never really had a choice. It was either we go, or I have to deal with Joanna being upset on her day off. So I was like, all right, well, without being silly, I want my adventure hat. We're taking my machete, and we're putting the tent in the back because anything can happen. Like, it was Saturday, so, I mean, anything could happen. Like, I've only got one spare tire.
Yeah.
Things like that. It's 3.5 hours on Mexican road, which be like driving to Europe via Peru. But you know what? The roads weren't that bad, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Like, once I got out of the town, like the highways are good, except they're very curvy, and you go down one mountain, up the mountain. There's a lot of mountains involved. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was the GPS sent me out past Tequila on the way to, via Nayarit, which is like the next state over. It was cool seeing Welcome to Nayarit. It was like, whoa, look how far the Vocho. Good Vocho. Made it all this way. Thinking, you got to make it back home. We're cruising, we're doing the mountains, we got snacks, everything's great. I can't complain. The Vocho's doing well. The fuel gauge is still on full. Like, it's pretty good on fuel. We are cruising.
Full. But that actually means it has like half a liter on it or something.
Half a tank. Yeah, the top half. Okay. It gets half full and it's full. So I just filled it up, and I knew I was on full. And when it starts dropping from full, I know I'm at half. And then when it's about half, it's about a quarter. When it hits the red, I've got about 5 liters.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I've worked out my car. I've broken down without fuel a couple times. Yeah. So that's completely out of my mind, because we're cruising and we're making good time. Fuel's good. But, I've been driving for a while, and I thought, I'm following the Google map. So I've got internet on my phone. I've got signal here, so let's just double check to make sure I'm going the right way. And it appeared that there could have been a better way to go. If I went from Guadalajara, I go kind of down. If I go south and then back up, or I can go north and then back down. Either way, it's straight across to San Sebastian. And I thought, okay, I'll just double check. You know what Google Maps on my phone gave me?
What?
A snail. An outward spiral from where I was. capturing every street it could. Like it was just taking every right turn. There must be a programming issue with Google Maps or whatever maps was on my phone. I think it's Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever.
Okay.
But one of these programs has an issue where it just gives you the next right turn constantly until it gets you to the main street. Because I'm seeing this snail on the map, and I'm looking at Joanna, and I would have taken a photo, but my power button just wouldn't take the photo. So what do? We're waving out to this old lady that's selling like orange juice or something. Like, how do we get back to the main road? And I thought I'd get back to the main road, and then I put the directions in again. Like, the directions is literally a town, and from here, and it didn't give me the exact, like, it didn't give me the exact way. It just kind of like left a grey line, and then it gave me a blue line, but I need to get to the blue line to start my trip. It was really weird. I think the streets that I was on, aren't on the map. That's what happened. So it just had a grey line, like, lighting up all the streets of the town until I got back to the main road. So I asked, "Where's the main road?" We got out to the main road, and then I redo it, and it's like, okay, no worries, 12 kilometers down the road, and take the right. And I'm looking at the map, and it is like like the reading of like a Richter scale. The street is just like a squiggly line around this mountain, and then down the river, across the river, and then to the town, and about an hour and a half to go. It's like, okay, no worries, bit of a detour, we lost a bit of time. It's still light, so, we might get there before dark.
Okay, at what time did you begin this epic journey?
About midday.
Right, yeah, great, the perfect time.
Yeah, so, including lunch and everything, and we stopped or whatever, it's probably around 6 o'clock. No, 5 o'clock. Because I didn't realize that in Nayarit, they got a different time. They're like 1 hour different.
For real?
Well, I think so. Because this is coming to the next part.
Okay.
I'm following the zigzag road, and it's fair enough. It's not a very good road. I'm going pretty walking pace because there's a pothole every meter, scattered everywhere. It looks like they were doing construction, and then they just left it. There's just square potholes in the road for maybe a couple hundred meters, and I thought, no worries. They're rebuilding the road. It's a weekend. I don't expect them to work. I'll just drive through here really slow. Except it didn't stop. The road was just bad for kilometers, and I locked up the Vocho a couple times because I didn't see the potholes. Like, there was just like a gravel dirt road, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoa, cliff! Skid into a stop, and then bang! I'm in this hole. I'm like, oh crap! I'm gonna mess up my steering, or I'm gonna pinch a tire. Like, I was trying not to be negative about it, because obviously Joanna's still in the best mood because she slept the last 3 hours. And she's like, we're gonna get there soon. And I'm just looking at my fuel gauge going down as I'm driving through this road, because it's all uphill, downhill. Like, I'm walking pace, so it's like, I drove down into this street expecting, like, next fuel petrol station, I'm gonna fill up, and I'm on maybe a quarter of my tank, which is about 7 liters or something. So, that's a reasonable amount, but I'm not about to drive a big highway run on that.
Yeah.
So I finally get to the other end of this zigzaggy road, kind of the bottom, and I'm cruising across a few bridges that were, it looked like something that you'd find in Jurassic Park, like in a Jurassic Park emergency exit after it's been closed for 10 years. Like, all the trees, the grass is maybe 2 meters tall, and like over the road,
yeah,
there's potholes.
Velociraptors poking their head out. Hey, what's up, bro?
I had my camera out, ready to take a shot, because I didn't know. It was like, you know what? Actually, as we're cruising into this street, there was 2 police trucks at the on the highway as you turn off, and I thought, is there a reason why they're there, or do they not go down this street? Like, it looked pretty deserted. I was honestly, it crossed my mind to be, like 2 trucks front and back, and to be kidnapped or something. Like, I still carry these old programs in my mind of possibilities, even though I know Mexico's like completely fine.
It's completely fine. You mean, I mean, if you were going to get kidnapped, that would probably be, that's probably one of the top 10 locations or flavors of location where it's going to happen.
I haven't seen another car for hours.
Yeah.
I don't know who drives down this road. Like, this isn't even a road. It's like there was boulders the size of my bocho on the road that I had to weave around. Yeah, I said, nobody uses this road. This is like some kind of Jurassic Park emergency exit that has been abandoned. Like, the road's falling apart.
Okay, so you were entering the Area 51 of Mexico. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I tried to find the road on the map, and now I can't find it.
Right.
Like, it's not there. And anyway, so this road, nobody uses it, and I've been on it for maybe an hour. And I'm crossing these bridges that are kind of at the bottom, and I'm like, yes, I finally got to the river, because on the map I could see the rivers coming up. But there was no top on the bridge. It was just like there was rails. Like I could see the rails, like the steel rail that the concrete's supposed to be on top of. And there was the potholes on it, and it looked like it was washed away, and it's just the frame. But it was getting dark now, and we're going slow. But I thought, well, it can't be that much further. There's like the bocho's not heavy, so we'll just go for it. Whatever happens, it's Joanna's fault. So I didn't even want to come here. It doesn't matter. And I'm looking at my fuel gauge, and now I'm in the red. So I'm literally on a couple liters of fuel. Like, this is it. This is the end of the line. I'm making jokes like, hey, do you want to put the tent on that side of that tree or over there? Yeah. Or this side of the river? Like, I didn't care.
That was good foresight with the tent. Maybe filling up the tank would have been better foresight, but still.
Yeah. Well, I did before I left.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's just that I thought when I get to the halfway, I'd fill it up, and I just didn't see a petrol station.
Yeah.
But crossing these bridges, I saw a guy on a horse up the road, so I drove up and I waved out to him. Yeah, I was like, there's someone here to help, and he has a horse. I said, is there a town nearby? Like, like, hey, is there a town anywhere? And he goes, oh yeah, 100, just right here. I was like, where?
I don't see shit.
I had to turn around, and it would have been no more than 200 meters. Like, I literally just passed it, but it looked like a cobblestone driveway.
Yeah.
And I drive in, and then I drive up, and then I turn, and it's like hairpin turn, like driveway, like I'm on like a dirt rock road. I took 3 of these levels up, and there's a whole town it was quite big, right there on top of this little hill that I couldn't see anything because there's just cliffs on the road as you're curving around, and then this driveway going into this town. But now I'm in this town, and I'm like, okay, where's the petrol station? There's no petrol station in this town, and they're not even allowed. It's illegal to sell petrol. Like, people were just they didn't want to talk to me or help me. And then the shop it was just a corner store.
You actually unknowingly entered the USSR, and so many restrictions on trade that they didn't want to sell you anything.
Just crossed Europe.
Yep.
And
just a little time warp.
I mean, I get it. Why you don't want people selling petrol, but when you're in a town, well, because I think you got a local government that say, okay, there's no petrol station here. I can't have other people making money off petrol.
What? No, that sounds like a stupid idea.
No, well, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good idea. It's just that from my experience with local government here in Mexico, and you needing to have a permit to sell anything, then it makes sense, because I don't think there's permits to sell petrol. I think that's a government entity. It's like
it's reserved for the aristocrats.
There we go. But the guy that was at the shop, he saw that I was in trouble. Like, he's just like, okay, so there's a couple, they got a car with no fuel in it. What are they going to do? And then he kind of like nudged the kid that was with him and said, go check, see your uncle's got fuel. And We walked 3 blocks up to where his uncle lived, and he went out to his shed and he pulled out like a 20-litre jerry full of fuel. And I bought 10 litres off him, and then he came back and helped me put it in my car, because I never had a funnel or anything. And that was all good, except I was feeling weird because country folk talk different.
What, do you mean their accent or the expressions or what do you mean?
Well, okay, no, I don't know whether it was because it was Nayarit.
Hey there, since I got you that 10 litres of petrol, maybe you could do a little favour for me, if you know what I'm saying.
He did say that if I didn't feel comfortable driving back, there's a spare room. Stayed at his place.
Yeah, the squeal like a piggy room.
I didn't feel comfortable. Like I just felt his vibe from the people, and it was I was describing the whole story like this horror film, and Joanna was sick of hearing my don't look out the back window. You don't know who you're going to see or who's coming for it. I don't know if that's a husband thing. It's funny to scare your wife. It seems funny. But the town was like just a normal town, except the people were weird.
Well, they're probably all inbreds.
They were really sus.
6 generations.
They asked me too many questions. Like, so whereabouts in California are you from? And, and I was like, the west side. No, I didn't say that. But I asked him, I told him I'm not from California, and like how far do you think I've traveled? I'm from Guadalajara, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But talking to the lady that was in the shop and the guy at the front, they've got 3 kids that moved to California, so it was just default. If you're not here, you're in California. and then they invited us in for a coffee. And we ate sweetbread. That was nice.
When you say sweetbread, you don't that's a funny term, because if you say sweetbread in English, it actually means certain parts of offal, like the oysters of an animal or something.
Okay.
So you don't mean sweetbread, you actually mean sweet bread.
Yeah, I need to be more specific. Well, in Mexico,
I'm just busting your balls, but
it's totally cool because I understand our compadres here probably aren't familiar with pan dulce, which is literally sweet bread, which is an arrangement of delicious breads produced all through Mexico.
Yeah.
With various very specific names and ingredients.
Yeah, wherever you go, they're all the same. Like you buy a conche, and it's a conche, and they look like identical wherever you go. It's like they fucking clone these things in a factory. I don't know why.
But I mean, it was their shop, so she said to her daughter, which she was quite attractive for a country girl. That was Joanna.
She was quite attractive for an inbred.
Joanna said,
5 generations of intermarriage with cousins.
I don't know. I never saw the records. Okay. But Joanna said,
family Bible.
She's very attractive for a country girl. I was like, what are you saying? Like, just because you're city folk, like, don't be judging country people. But they're great. They're lovely people. I think I felt weird because they were too nice.
Oh, well, they're interested. It's, it's the same old story, isn't it? They're just interested in people who come from somewhere else, and they want to find out more about it.
Yeah.
It's pretty normal reaction, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think people drop in very often. Yeah. And so they invited us in for a coffee, and it was that's when they told me it's not 7 o'clock, it's really 6 o'clock, even though it was already dark. Like it seemed like a very different time, sunlight ratio compared to Guadalajara.
So you actually did step into a time warp here.
Yeah, there was a change of.
So did you ask them the year?
I didn't. I should have.
Okay. Who was president or politics didn't come up? It
was extremely different, even though I was only 3 hours away.
Right.
Or maybe further. I don't know. Like I left at lunchtime. Yeah. I didn't pay attention to how long I was driving for. Yeah. But I know it took me 3.5 hours to drive back, and I was hitting it pretty hard, considering. But then that's when they told me, there's a time difference here, so it's only 6 o'clock. You'll be back before midnight. And we weren't. We got home like nearly 1:45. But we...
It's all right.
Yeah, it was still a good time. Actually, now I'm thinking it could have been 5 hours to drive back. Either way, it was a whole day of driving. But these people were lovely. Like, I was just very suspicious of them because they're asking too many questions and they were almost too nice. Like, hey, we have to help you. Like, let's go find fuel, which I guess was good. But it was their shop, so they just took bread out of the bread tin, and there was a kitchen right behind the shop, so we're there having coffee and having a chat about how lovely it is to have people that can help other people without expecting anything in return, and how she's got family in the US, and hopefully if my kids were ever in trouble, it'd be nice if someone could help them. So don't worry about it. It's my pleasure. And this was the day after we were getting free chocolate. So that was pretty funny. You're like, this never happens.
Apparently it does when you step into a time warp into 90s, 50s Mexico when nobody uses petrol.
There were more horses than cars when I got to this town. Actually, when I first pulled up to the shop, there was a big black horse. Like, not like the donkey horse you see dragging the bins around here. It was a big, it could have been like a back 2 meter. Like, it was a big horse. Yeah. Possibly the biggest horse I've seen in real life. With big braided hair. I don't know the parts of the horse, but that they got a mane, right? It's called a mane.
Yeah.
It was all braided nice. Their tail was braided nice, and it had a big royal I'm assuming it was royalty because it was an immaculate looking horse, like just shiny, big, strong horse.
Yep.
Not the one you see people cruising around town. Like this was like something out of one of those.
Cruising around.
You seen the guys cruise around town?
You seen those motherfuckers rolling around on the souped up Rolls Royce horses?
On the gold shoe horses.
Yeah, the Chevrolet, Chevrolet horseshoes. Yeah. Okay. Chrome plated horseshoes and everything. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
sure.
The grill. The horse got the big chrome grill. It was one of those with a big R just stamped on his butt.
Okay.
So that was pretty impressive. And there were, going back to the town, there wasn't really that many cars. There was no petrol station. That was it. When we first went in to get fuel, our mission was to get fuel and to keep going. Like we were gonna stay at this town overnight or camp or whatever. But we come this far, we're not going to lose all this ground that we made. We need to get to this town. And, as we put fuel in the car, off we go, bye. Thank you for the coffee. Bread was wonderful. See you some other time. And they're like, you're not going to San Sebastian, are you? I was like, it's late. And I was like, well, it's only an hour away. They're like, yeah, but the bridge has been out for years.
Right.
And it was just like this gulp of what? The bridge has been out. And it was confusing because on one hand, okay, maybe we're not going to make it. It's like I don't like not completing my mission.
Oh, is this the part of the story where your can-do attitude comes out and you're like, whoa, you get a revitalized burst of energy, and Mr. Miyagi appears to you in a vision and says, "You must find your way to San Sebastian."
I was waiting for that guy to turn up with boards and a few bricks, and we're going to make a ramp. And we're going to take this bridge.
Okay.
I'm thinking of what I can do. Like, the water can't be that deep. If I can just get the Vocho down there, maybe we can, maybe I should go look at it. Maybe there's a way. Like, someone has to get across this water.
Yeah.
I didn't even go look. It was dark.
Okay.
But I'm thinking there has to be a way.
Mr. Miyagi.
You have to be able to get across.
Disappointed.
But then it occurred to me, so you're telling me that the road that I came in on is the only way in and out of town. Like, hour-long, zigzaggy, up and down mountains, hairpin turns, speed bumps, missing road, potholes, the worst. That's the only way in town. I'm like, you guys don't get out much, huh? That's what I'm thinking. Like these people are stranded here.
Yeah.
It's like just a unfortunate geographical gravity time well.
Yeah. So that was indeed the case then.
That was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like that was the end of the line. Like, we were upset. We had to go home. I mean, there's
Moral of the story.
That's
Don't
what happened.
trust Apple Maps.
The maps, like they don't. Someone didn't message Google or Apple to tell them that the bridge was out.
I wonder why not.
It was devastating. It's like I'm following the map. I'm doing good. I'm making time. It's like this is my technology, and like Back to the Future, no bridge.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you made it home in one piece. Didn't have to camp out, and Joanna was happy because she had her adventure, even though she didn't make it to San Sebastian de las Almas de Jesucristo de la Virgen
The east side, or west. Yeah. She was happy. She was tired. She had a big day. That was all good. I wasted a day driving and a whole crap load of fuel. But on the way home, after I got the 10 litres of fuel,
thanks Shell,
and
Pemex,
I go to fill up, I'm smelling, as they serve, there's a person there to put the fuel in the car.
Yeah.
I can smell a whole lot of fuel. Like usually I can smell fuel, but more than normal. So I get out and I can see a big puddle of fuel around my car. When you're sitting in a car above a puddle of fuel roughly the same size as the car, it stinks. Like it really stinks like petrol.
Cool.
So that's when I knew something was up. It's like, that's not supposed to smell like that. I mean, that's strong. So I'm outside the car and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, shouldn't have that much fuel outside my car. I'm thinking, have I punctured my fuel tank? Did the chick that put fuel in just miss the hole? Just pouring fuel over my car? Like what's happening here? I don't think all the fuel went out on the floor because my tank registered as half a tank, so that's at least 8 litres of fuel. I moved the car back. I lifted the bonnet because the fuel tank for the botch was in the front. And what I think happened was, as they were undoing the cap, because of all the rattling and the hours of speed bumps and potholes and just crappy roads, what happened was it looked like it twisted itself somehow, because it's only about maybe 10 inches long. This steel pipe that goes from the outside of the car connects to the fuel tank. In the process of them undoing the fuel cap, I think they've pulled it off, like it was already loose. And then some fuel got in the tank, but most of it just filled up the front of my car and just dripped down the floor. So I was just like, at this point, I don't care. Like, the day's been just a big day of just upsets. So I looked at the girl and I'm like, you might want to clean this up. And they start pouring sand on it and stuff, and I don't care. I'm washing my hands and I'm going to the bathroom. I left Joanna to deal with talking to them about what just happened. By the time I got back,
right,
they agreed to give me half of what I paid for again, because they assumed that all of it poured out. They said they didn't have to do it because it wasn't their fault. And I said, well, it's not my fault. You didn't notice it. You didn't notice it dripping out. Like, it's not a very big car. So we met each other halfway, and they gave me another half of, I don't know, like an extra 10 litres or something on top of what I already had. So I thought, okay, could have been worse. I'll take it. But it was just a funny end to the night. After not having fuel anywhere, after driving, stressing out my fuel tank in less and less fuel, going in a direction that I couldn't even finish my drive anyway, waiting for fuel to finally get fuel and to have it all poured out. It's like that thirsty camel cruising across the desert. It finally gets to the tap, opens it up, and what rushes out is all that there is. It's like it's gone. So then it starts occurring to me, like, how do people live in that town without petrol? Like, how is it? You need to know your nearest petrol station is 2 hours away, or you're buying it from your neighbor at a premium.
Well, apparently they just use horses, and the horses eat grass, and they turn that into petrol or fuel, some kind of fuel.
But then they never get out of town. Well, looking at the road they had.
Well, that road would probably be easier to navigate by a horse than it would by a bocho.
Well, Joanna and I made the joke. Joanna made the joke, like, if we could trade the bocho for a horse right now, would you do it?
I think a horse is probably worth more than your car. Man.
Definitely worth more.
Yeah.
Yeah, even just an average horse.
Yeah.
Even some dogs could be worth more, I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah, a Doberman can pull a plow pretty well, I guess.
Well, you know what? They are selling English bulldogs for 16 to 20,000 pesos. So yeah, it's worth more than my bocho, and that's just a household bulldog. I would have taken the horse. But it's interesting. The economics of petrol. It's like such a power. Like it's so necessary in the city. But then you get out, no one cares. It's like that's tractor business. And we don't worry about that. That's like farm life. So that was my weekend.
Cool.
I didn't feel like doing anything on Sunday.
So the moral of the story is, if there's an economic collapse and the world runs out of oil, go into regional Mexico where the bridges are out and you can survive there eating sweet breads and drinking coffee with the locals.
Well, that's the whole reason why I told the story. Because we're discussing this idea of petroleum and necessity.
Well, no, we're discussing that well before the episode started. So before you told that whole story.
Yeah.
So actually, nobody knows what you're talking about, and that just seemed like a off the cuff random comment that led from nowhere.
We do that. Well, okay. The question is, do we need petrol?
All right.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I guess we can talk about the economics of that in a later episode.
Sure. Yeah, I think we better wrap it up.
I mean, we could just cut this part off.
Okay,
that's not our style.
It's great. It's brilliant.
We'll just keep rolling.
Okay. Yeah. See you next time, guys.
Podcast addict to get that shit downloaded on your Android phone.